story to share. I was stuck in emotional eating. It was reading books that helped me to become unstuck. Stuck is not you story. Book collaborations do just that. It helps readers to become unstuck and to do something different to be on their best lives now journey. Join us and write your story with us.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Happy day, happy day. Good evening, good night, good day, good afternoon, depending on where you're chiming in from. I am chiming in from New York City at the moment. Make sure to share, comment, like, and subscribe. I am Noreen N. Henry, your victorious living strategist. I liberate women who are stuck with our collaboration books and our retreats and victorious living cultures, products, and services. You know, there's times you could be thinking that you haven't done much. And that's because there's so much more to accomplish, there's so much to do. But then when you reflect back, you see that you have accomplished a lot. So today, I wanted to talk about the beginning journey of my authorship. The beginning of it. I started writing a few years before I officially published my first book. I don't remember what year it was. I know I'm going to have to look back on the file because I have it, in the Word document. So I'm going to have to look back on the file to see the date where I actually started writing. And then I didn't publish my first book until 2016. And then I wrote the second edition to it, and that was published in 2017. And so my first book was, Are You in God's Will? Do you know that you have to choose? So when I began this journey, I did not know, I didn't know, right? It was all new to me. So I was learning as I went along. So when I published my first book, I was so green with it that I ordered my book retail instead of wholesale. That's how green I was. Not anymore though. So now I know to order my own copies wholesale price. Because like I said, it was all new to me. So I was literally learning as I went along. I didn't have coaches. I didn't have a publisher. I was doing it all myself. So for those that can relate to that, with starting the author journey, let me know what it was like. Talk to me. Let me know what it was like in the comments. It's interesting because just like with anything else in life, there's work in the journey, right? Because with the book, you got to write the book, and if you even if you do hire have a publisher, it still takes work anyway, because you got to write the book, and then there's revisions and the proofreading and editing, the creating the cover and all the content, the preface, the introduction, it's a process. It's a process. That's why you can hear stories of people say it took 10 years before they published their book, right? So there's stories I wrote one, I started one last year, and I'm about to publish it this year. It's a process. It's a process. So with that, my book, I have it right here. My very first book, and then this is the second edition of it. I chose to write this book because I go by how I'm led. And so I wrote this book because we have choices in life. And the choice is, if we're not choosing God, right, on living from the spiritual side of life, we're not going to be in the right spirit. We're not going to be operating from the right spirit. So we're going to make choices independent of the right spirit. but we don't want that. We want to be we don't want to be in the wrong spirit, because it's terrible when you see people operating in the wrong spirit. If you see, it's all negative. So I believe I was led to write this to show the difference. It shows the difference when you're in God's spirit, operating from that spiritual standpoint versus operating from your own or from a negative spirit. So there's stories in here that shows the difference and why you need to operate in the right spirit. And that's from the Almighty God's perspective. I mean, I say God, I say Almighty, I say Divine Creator, and whatever you call our source of life, our internal guidance. For me, it's Almighty God. So with this book, if you can even relate to that, comment and let me know. Let me know, because for me, it's about making right choices in life, because there's scripture that talks about perishing for lack of knowledge. And when we don't have the right knowledge, we make wrong choices. I know years ago we used to say you make wrong mistakes, you make mistakes. I don't call it mistakes. I stopped calling it mistakes because we make choices based on the knowledge we have. So for me, it's not mistakes. And as you go along, like for me, I like to learn, and I like to learn. I like to work on myself so that I can be a better version of myself. But if we don't do that, we end up being stuck. And I don't want to be stuck anymore. I used to be so stuck. I don't want to be stuck anymore. So in that, we end up perishing when we don't have the right knowledge. And so that's what this book is about. That's what my stuff is about. Gaining the right knowledge, teaching the right knowledge. Let me read you a review from the first edition. Somebody said, "I love Noreen. She is full of wisdom and love for life. This book is such a needed tool for people out there struggling to understand the will of God in their lives. I am so proud of Noreen. I highly recommend getting your copy today." That was one of the reviews from Amazon. Another one is, "Are you looking for directions? This is a must." So I encourage you to get the book so you can get to understand what I'm talking about with operating in the right spirit, right? And making right choices, gaining the right knowledge. Someone else said that this is a great book. It's a quick read, inspiring and passionate. I can't wait for the next one. Noreen's words shed a golden light on the soul. I can appreciate the reality of this book. Very good read, insightful, educational, and very well written. And other comments were, "Great book. I am enjoying it. Keep up the good work. It was a good read. Can't wait for the next one." Another one, well said and presented. Good job. This one is from my niece. Got my copy. Congrats, Auntie. Can't wait to read it. Love it. Awesome. Those are some comments from, this is my first book, and this was published in, like I said, 2016. Let me make sure. 2016. No, wrong. 2016 was the first edition. So this one is 2017 that this was published. So I encourage you to get it. I'll read you the first paragraph from the introduction. As it is with most people, I experienced certain things in my life that caused a lot of hurt, misery, pain, and depression. I have journeyed through and witnessed the actual destruction of my life. The Lord stopped me on the path of destruction and changed me and my life 180 degrees. I'll read the next one. God is now using me to expose the devil, the enemy, and his lies, and to teach the truth about God's words. This book is the beginning of explaining the true things in life. That is, the truth about God and how we must be obedient to him because of the dire consequences if we are not. Even though we do have free will, because we do. We have free will. We can either choose to operate in the wrong spirit and make choices that are not good for us, and then end up suffering from those choices, right? Because whatever we do, it comes back. Or we can choose to gain the right knowledge to make right choices in life, and that's throughout our life. It's never going to stop. Once we're alive, but it's never going to stop. So I believe it is the only way to have a truly successful, healthy, and prosperous life. Like I said, we need to gain the right knowledge. So some of the well, I can tell you the chapters in the book. One is in the Lord's will or in Satan's will. And for me, it's operate in the right spirit or in the wrong spirit. How do you seek the kingdom of God to be in his will? Consequences of not being in his will. Society's standards. Blocked blessings went out of God's will. Blessings or curses based on Deuteronomy 28. The bottom line, and then the appendix is talks about salvation, and for those that are already saved, are already conscious and operating from the right spirit, what we're to be doing. Because one of the things we're to be doing is, it says in the word, we have power. We have so much power, we can change anything, but we don't operate in that power. Speaking for myself as well. Because as it's written, we are to be doing greater works than Jesus did. And I don't see those works, unfortunately. And that's because we're not operating in our power that we have. And like I said, we have so much in God. We just have to learn it. We have so much. Like, one of the things is health. We're supposed to be walking in divine health, standing on the promises of healing. That's for another topic. So let's all learn to walk in our power. Let's learn it. Let's gain the right knowledge so that we can all make right choices, so that we can all live the life that we really truly want to live, because a lot of times we're not truly living the life that we want. So that's why it's my purpose, it's my calling to share the knowledge, because it also goes to our thinking and our speaking, what we speak out of our mouths. That's what comes to pass in our lives. So there's so many, it's like, it's easy and then it's hard at the same time, because we have to unlearn and relearn. And I talk about that in my books. So I encourage you. I've got so far 25 published books. Get my books and gain the right knowledge, because I am walking in my purpose, and this is my calling to share the right knowledge. So with that being said, let's go to a commercial break.
Do you have a story to share? I was stuck in emotional eating. It was reading books that helped me to become unstuck. Stuck is not you story. Book collaborations do just that. It helps readers to become unstuck and to do something different to be on their best lives now journey. Join us and write your story with us.
And we're back. So I'm going to read some more of the book, and got any comments about it, just let me know. Comment, let me know where you are on your journey. Where are you on your journey? Because so many are stuck and don't know it, and until we look within and analyze our lives to know where we stand, then we can do something about it. So chapter 1 is in the Lord's will or in Satan's will. And for me, that really pertains to the spirit that you're operating in. Are we operating in the right spirit, or are we operating in the wrong spirit? And I want to operate in the right spirit. So are you in God's will for your life? Do you know that you have to choose? Being in God's will means to live by the standards that are set forth in the Bible. It's plain and simple. When we are not living by God's standards, it means we're living by the enemy's standards, right? And really, it's society, because society dictates a lot of things, and for me, it's negative. There was a time before I started to gain the right knowledge, I thought I was a positive person, but it wasn't until I began gaining the right knowledge to realize I was not positive like I thought I was. Like, I'm positive now, but back then I wasn't, and I thought I was. And that's because I was operating from society standards, and that changed from operating from God's standards, from the Almighty standard. So it's a choice that we have to make, and more often than not, we're unaware. Well, I was unaware, and that's why, like I said, the reason for writing this book, I was unaware that it was a choice. Like, if you don't make that choice, you live by society's standards, and you see it all the time, and it's challenging when people are not open. It's challenging in sharing that you can't go by what society says. So society, what I say is, society makes people sick, and it destroys people, and it kills them. You see it all the time. I know I've got to be careful what I say, but it's my truth. Like, I believe in healing. I don't take medicines, and sometimes, speaking to people, because there's people that do, I don't believe in it, because the body heals itself. So why do I need to take medicine? We just have, like I said, we have so much power. We just have to learn it. And that's one of them. So I don't have medicine in my home. It's funny because a few years ago, I ended up getting sick, and I was talking to my friend, and she said, like, I don't remember what it was she was saying to take, but I was like, I don't have any medicine in my home, so there was nothing to take. But that's me, and it goes also to faith, like, and people say to me that I have great faith. And that's why I'm always going to say we have so much power. We just have to learn it. We have to learn it, and we have to be open and not go by what society dictates. There's nothing good in it, and the word says it too. What is it? Do not be conformed to the standards of the world, right? So what does that mean? It means not to go by what they dictate. What it is too is thinking for ourselves and analyzing, and, like, when they suggest things, to not just go by what they say, but to research it, pray on it. You're a prayer, pray on it, and pray for the truth, because that's what happened with me a few years ago as well. Like, there was things that were not adding up, so I started praying for the truth. And when whatever it is that you ask for, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. So stuff started to be revealed to me. So we have to think for ourselves, and we have to, like I said, do our own research and look within. Look within. God is within us. Look within, and then we'll find the answers. There's a lot I can say. There's so much to say. But let me go back to the book. Are you in God's will? Do you know that you have to choose? In fact, if you're ready to purchase it, you can go to my website. It's NoreenNHenry.com. There's an extra N in the middle, and click on shop and scroll down and order it, and then read it for yourself so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm only on page 2, and I'm not staying with you too much longer. John 8:44 says, "You are of your father, the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there's no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it." So those are the characteristics of the enemy. It's murder and a liar. There's no truth in the enemy. And this is why we have to be so careful in what spirit we're operating in. So I was once in Satan's will and I did not know it. I was making decisions outside of the will of God. I used to fornicate, party the world's way, live independently of God, not seeking him first in all decisions. Just did what I thought was right. And keywords there, I thought. The result of living outside the will of God was my life was on a downward spiral. The perishing for lack of knowledge. James 4:7 says, "Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you." To submit yourself to God is to seek him first. James 4:7 shows that we are the ones, and I say individually, that have to resist the enemy. We have to resist. If we're not aware of it, we end up falling for the tricks. So if we do not make the choice to live according to God's standards, as James 4:7 is saying, we're automatically living by the enemy's standards. And we don't want that. We don't want that. That's the worst thing we can do. And like I said, like I didn't know myself many years ago. So some of God's standards are love, peace, joy, honesty, keeping yourself pure, all good things. Some of the enemy's standards are lying, stealing, hatred, strife, fornication, adultery, all bad things, because these things, what do? They hurt people because that's what it is, right? When we don't, like if somebody's committing adultery, they're hurting their partner, right? So these are things that we just need to be aware of, and the choices that we make. And this subheading is much deeper than we think. So I'm going to stop right there with the book and encourage you to purchase it so that you can get to read it and get to understand what it is that I was led to write about. And like I said, this is the second edition, and for me, I continue to learn. I continue, as much as I've gained a lot of knowledge over the years, there's still more. Right? There's still more to learn. So I know that at some point there will be a third edition. But as of now, this is the second edition. So I encourage you to get it. Like I said, the website is scrolling across the screen. Let me speak right. It's scrolling across the screen. So it's Noreen N. Henry, the extra N in the middle. So it's NoreenNHenry.com and /shop. And you scroll down and you can order the book and you'll get an autographed copy of the book. So that's extra special. I will sign it for you. So remember that victory is being courageous towards orchestrating and analyzing the reviewing of your life. Let me start again. I've said this in the previous video that I created this acronym and I still don't know it yet. So I have to read it. I still don't have it memorized as yet. So victory is being courageous towards orchestrating and analyzing. Why am I not reading it right? Victory is being courageous towards orchestrating and organizing the reviewing and analyzing of your life to change it. Let me repeat it because I've messed it up. Victory is being courageous towards orchestrating and organizing the reviewing and analyzing of your life to change it. So remember, that's what victory is. If we don't start looking at ourselves and analyzing it and organizing it and reviewing it, and how are we going to change? We first have to become aware of how our lives are. That's if we want to change it. Like for me, I always want to get better and better. I don't want to stay stuck. I don't want to be mediocre. I want to be healed because of all the trauma over the years. And so in order to do that, we have to first be aware before we can do anything. But I thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And for those on the replay, you can still comment, share it, like it, and subscribe. And know that there is always hope. There is always hope, no matter what. So again, are you in God's will? Do you know that you have to choose? I am Noreen N. Henry, your Victorious Living Strategist. Bye for now. Till next time.
Do you have a story to share? I was stuck in emotional eating. It was reading books that helped me to become unstuck. Stuck is not you story. Book collaborations do just that. It helps readers to become unstuck and to do something different to be on their best lives now journey. Join us and write your story with us.